But program building, what we're looking at here, you know, the purpose of the project is also to identify some deficiencies and make some recommendations to address those deficiencies. And we're hoping that you'll be very, very pleased with it.
Thank y'all for the work you put in so far.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Jay, am I hearing what you're saying is that you would like to see this projected cost analysis and then you will
Yes.
address priorities? Okay. I just want to make sure I understood.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, it has to be more than just cost. It has to be how much it impacts a particular area. I mean, you know, like a number of people. I mean, it's going to be more urban, or is it going to be more rural impact? I mean,
Yes, that's a very good point, and I didn't point that out in the presentation, and I'm glad you brought that up, actually. The opinions of probable cost that we're going to develop, we're not going to develop those just at the site level. So we're going to look at them at also the watershed level, because I think that's very, very important. I mean, it's not built into the scope of work, but I think it's a critical step to have a price tag at the watershed level and also a price tag at the site-specific level, and combine the two, so we'd be able to look at both. And the way it's structured, if it's delineated at the watershed and the site level from a cost perspective, it would help really, if in the future the board desires to address those watersheds that have chronic issues and have some innovative approaches in those watersheds put in place, it would be a very good idea to understand what the cost estimates are for that entire watershed. So it gives you a target. Say, this is what I need to achieve. This particular watershed needs X million dollars for the next 5 years. So you know exactly what needs to be done in it, how much money it needs, and then you
that
start.
would be the
really-
Richard Creek watershed. I think he's talking about.
Yes. Just what we had hoped to avoid.
Well, looking at the map.
I think, well, hey, Richard Creek affects you just must affects me. You know.
That's what I'm saying, look at the map.
Anything else for Zoe, Sophie, before we move on? We appreciate y'all's hard work. We look forward to kind of wrapping this thing up and giving you some guidance. And Mr. Slade will be back in contact, and we'll move on from there. Thank y'all.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Any other additional business from the board that we needed to touch on?
Don't think so.
I assume there's probably a need for executive session? No?
For me.
Wait a minute. We may have something. I don't know if we're gonna have to have any kind of emergency situation in Pearl on doing these bridge repairs. We can't do the evaluation yet, but we meet Monday, so we can just.
Help me out with something. Mike made the comment on Old Brandon Road. Is that in the city of Pearl, but we're taking it on because it's, in theory, it's a state aid road? Is that why we're involved? I didn't realize that was the criteria.
I think we've always done, we're gonna show every bridge.
We
in
know
the
there's
county.
little small
Yeah.
bridges.
Bridges
We do
are ours
that.
as well.
Mhm.
But let me clarify something. If it's a bridge, that is the province of the Board of Supervisors. We're responsible for roads and bridges and ferries. And the delineation of a municipality doesn't technically get in the way of that. All right, if it's a bridge and if it's on a state aid road and it's a bridge, that's technically going to be county responsibility, even if it's in a municipality.
And if it's not state aid, but it's in a municipality, it still kind of fall under our...
It can, if the board chooses in its discretion to be involved. Yes, sir.
Okay.
We
Small
have
bridges we
constitutional
generally
authority
Assist in.
to be involved in those. What we have done historically is that we work with the municipality to address those issues.
You're not talking about 469, though, not that.
Yeah, I know that's state highway. I mean, I'm just talking about, when Mike made the comment about Old Brandon Road, that most Old Brandon roads beside the city of Pearl. So I just want to make sure I had an understanding. That's fine. We'll wait till Monday. Is that what you want to do, Jay, on the?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think there's another reason to recess till tomorrow.
Let me just throw this out as a suggestion, but in anticipation that the board might want to move, I've already put together a resolution that addresses how the county might be able to come to the assistance of the city in this situation. And the way that I drafted the resolution was that you would authorize the board president or the county administrator to enter into any sort of agreements or transactions that are related to this particular emergency. But the parameters would be that that you guys would be apprised of the scope of the work and the cost beforehand,
Right.
and that every effort would be made to require the participation of the municipality or any other political subdivision of the state who might have some responsibility or ability to help. So that's the structure of it. We just to do the evaluation to see whether or not emergency aid is required, there's going to be the incurring of some cost. That the third party who's going to be looking at it is going to need to be compensated for that. And so I would propose us going ahead and at least considering the emergency declaration, so that if we do need a third party out there doing an evaluation for us, we're not having to come back and ratify that after the fact.
I agree.
Okay.
Just go and put it out there that way it's already set there.
Do we need to?
Add that to the agenda.
Yes.
So how you want to reference that? Does Jessica, can you get with him or whatever to find out how the wording?
We've got the resolution right here.
Just happen to have it there, huh?
So, again, not to belabor the point, but so that you know what you're getting yourselves into here. It's an emergency declaration related to the flash flood damage to bridges located in Rankin County and authorizing expenditure of county funds associated with repairing the damage.
That's not going to include any road, just the bridges.
Well, if it's obviously if it's in the road, Jared, we're going to be able to address that because we're going to try to protect the road. And again, this is related to state aid.
Right.
Okay, so if it's anything outside of what the county would normally have province over, then you guys need to be, before anything is done, you need to be told this is what you're looking at from an
I don't
emergency
think
standpoint.
we're looking to do any road work with the exception of Old Brand Road where we
Yeah.
just overlaid it.
Right,
And it just washed out some of it.
so you're clear, there's two
That's what I
issues
said
here.
that.
We'll catch it next cycle.
There's two issues here.
It is election time next year.
There's two things that we want to address with this declaration, both of which have some effect on you and how you're governing, okay? One is the reality that the county itself has the ability to take care of some of these repairs. Mike and his crews can handle it. That's a budget issue. That's not a big deal. But you are allowing for Mike to spend money out of the county funds under his budget that's not otherwise budgeted for. You follow that? So by way of an emergency declaration, you're saying, Mike, go do what you need to do in these areas, and you have the ability to do with your personnel and our equipment. Get that done, and we will take care of dealing with your budget later. Okay? That's the first thing that you're doing under this document. The second is things that Mike can't deal with, does not have personnel or expertise to handle. We're going to need third parties. That's a bidding issue. That's a securing by way of a contract. No purchase order is being issued. You're going to get a backside invoice after something's already happened, but it's all done under the context of an emergency. You are authorizing the county administrator or the board president to enter into these agreements with third parties. Okay, that's not a budget issue. Third parties, it is technically a budget issue. It's not a road department budget issue. You're authorizing that to happen. What we're suggesting in this document is you're going to get notified. This is what we're being asked to do. This is what it's going to cost us. Here's how the other folks are participating, and here's who we're going to use. Okay? We're doing all that on the record now, under the state of emergency. That's what you're being asked to do.
Let me ask you one thing on that, Slate. Do we need anything to add into that on emergency operations side of that, since they're pretty well involved as well over there? Do we need any kind of wording on that? I don't know that they have a lot of expenditures on the same point, but other than equipment damage or,
Well,
I don't know if you need any kind of your wording. You need to have some kind of
Well,
set
what
up for
about
EOC, or you
reimbursement
okay?
from MEMA? If
Yeah.
there are some
Yeah,
dollars
that's
come
an
through?
internal, a EOC operational issue.
Okay.
By their very nature, when there is an emergency, you got MEMA on site,
Yeah.
you're expecting word to be there,
Yeah.
and he has his people there. That's within the context
Okay.
of their everyday normal
So they don't
operation.
need to be included. You're good with that.
Mike's generally not gonna be out making culvert repairs on a state aid road inside the city of Pearl. That's not a normal county function, so, but
You're good
within the
with-
context of an emergency, and it's an EOC operation, I get it. That's exactly what they're supposed to do. That's within the context of their charge.
All right.
So this is really to cover the road department and to cover you guys in the event we have to secure, by way of a contract with a private third party, emergency-related services. That's what you're approving. And what we're committing is that before we go forward and ask Bob to sign something, we're gonna get word to you guys, here's what it's gonna cost, here's what we're doing, here's the level of participation from other parties, and here's who we're using.
And just so you know, I think we're gonna be able to handle the old Brandon Road deal in-house, hopefully. So,
Motion by myself to add to the agenda, second Mr. Cross, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion to approve myself, second Mr. Cross, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed,
The
like
law-
sign.
The
Motion
law
carries.
requires all five of you to be unanimous, which you've already indicated. I've got it set up for all five of you to sign, so don't leave before you sign the declaration.
Okay.
all right, Craig, so what about if the state does kick in some money and there's some available for, bridges? How do we go about getting reimbursed? I don't know if that will actually happen or
I
not.
don't either.
He's
We-
got MEMA there now, so we'll
Yeah.
know short.
Documentation, we're just gonna have to document everything. This declaration will help, because now you're on record declaring that it's an emergency. And that the reason that we have taken this step is to address public health, safety, and welfare. That's all on record now.
All right.
And so, Jay, to answer your question, in a long roundabout way, we will make the best case that we can that whatever funding's available should be applied to an expense that's already occurred.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
All right, anything else to be discussed before we adjourn this meeting? Going once, it's the end of the year, get your shot in if you want it. Twice.
Make a motion, Jerry.
Make a motion, adjourn, Mr. Morris, the second by myself, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign, motion carries, see y'all Monday morning. Thank y'all.